Alright, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College. And as part of the Rankin Technical College AWD, or Application and Website Development 1000 Web Development Technologies class, I've been starting to build a website for a mythical gym called Jacked and Jilled. And right now, this is what the site looks like. All I've done is to create at the top of my page. I've created my header section, and I've also thrown in which will be at the bottom in my footer section. Alright. Now, the completed page looks like this. So I want to start doing this now, my middle section. And I kind of broke it up into sections. I've got a section here. This is a background image, and I got a section here. So that's what I'm going to be doing as we continue on. Alright, and again, I've said this to you before, there are so many different ways that this can be done. I'm just showing you the way I did it. I'm by no means saying, oh yeah, I did it this way, and the way that I did it was the best way. You know, again, I would never say anything like that, period. Alright, now I've got to find out. I've been working with some other stuff here for other classes. Alright, so I'm right here. Let me open up. Tell you what, let me just open this. I'll go back here, and I'm at Jacked and Jilled. There's my index. In fact, what am I talking about? There we go. Okay. So, with what we've got right now, you've already seen this, okay? We came in last time and we created our header section. We broke it up into thirds. We had the main header that held the left header, the middle header, and the right header. Alright, so we've got that finished right now. And as mentioned, this is what it looks like. Okay? Alright. So let us continue on. I'm now in my main section. And inside of main, again, I broke it up into sections, but I kind of did it like this. I've got a div here with an ID equal, let's call it main 1. Maybe not a great name, but it'll work. All right. And inside of there, I have yet, in fact, I'm just going to call this main. I've got another div. And that div has an ID of join. Now you might say, well, what is that? Well, again, when we go and we look at the finished product, or that's going to end up being what's in here. Okay? So the first thing I want to do is I want to put in a paragraph, and I want that to say enroll today. Month 1 is free. And my paragraph, come on in and put in another paragraph. And that other paragraph will say, I'm losing my notes here, I apologize. It's early. There we go. So another paragraph here, and that one is to say it's just $10 per month thereafter. Might be the first time ever that I've created a website where I've used the word thereafter. So it's not going to look like much right now because we've just added that. All right. You're just going to see stuff in here getting pushed down and pushed down. We'll fix that in a matter of minutes. Okay? All right. Then the next thing that's actually in here, again, if I come back, this is a form. With what? With a text box and with a button. All right? So we'll put those in next. like to have a little bit of white space here and there on mine, so there we go. Form. ID is going to be join form. Hopefully one of the things that you're noticing is I'm starting to add IDs or classes onto just about everything, and it's a good idea. Even if I only had one form, I don't, but I won't rather, but if I only had one form on the whole website, I wouldn't have to really give it an ID. But I think it's always a good idea that anything you're going to possibly be manipulating using CSS to give it an ID or to give it a class. So the type here will be email. Why? Because I'm about to ask them for their email address. And you'll notice here I'm putting in an ID and I'm putting in a name, and they're the same thing. All right. In addition, I'm putting in a placeholder that's going to say enter your email here. All right. Let me finish the form and then we'll go over everything that's in here. So the next thing will be an input, will be the button. Type equals submit. And very much like I just did, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say ID equals submit. Name equals submit. Value equals submit. Now I'm going to go over everything that's in here, but before we do, let's take a look. And this stuff that you see right here in blue, when I do a file, save all, and I go back to my work in progress, what do I have now? I've got this. So let's look at what we can ascertain or figure out from what's in here. Well, that's a button. Its name is submit. I can push it in. Nothing magical is going to happen right now. All right. I can come in here and put in an email. I'm not worried right now about validating to make sure that that is a correct email or not. All right. So I'm letting the system know this, again, is my box that says enter your email here. I'm letting the system know using one of the newer HTML5 constructs that the type of it, rather than just being a text box, is an email. So some internal validation will be done based on that. All right? I'm calling it email. So if I want to be able to manipulate this eventually using JavaScript and using what's called the getElementBy ID method, I'll be able to do that. In addition, and I don't go that far in these lectures, but if I wanted to be able to manipulate this using a server-side language like PHP or ASP.NET or JSP, etc., I'm giving it a name. I've also given it some placeholder text. Now that placeholder text, hopefully you notice that. As soon as there's nothing there, it comes back. And it's grayed. It's a lighter gray. As soon as I click here and type in anything, it goes away. It comes back on an as-needed basis. All right. The button has got some things that are similar. Instead of a type equal email, the type is submit. So we're letting the system know it's a submit button. All right. Again, the ID, in case I want to manipulate this using JavaScript, is submit. The name, in case I want to manipulate this using a server-side language, is also submit. You don't always see the ID and the name be the same on every HTML control. But for most of them, and there are exceptions, like checkbox groups, etc., they are the same. The value equals submit with a capital S. That's just the verbiage that's on the button itself. All right. So I finished a couple divs here, and then I decided to take the next thing and make a section out of it. All right. So I gave it an ID of Testimonials. And let's quickly take a look at what we're going to have in here for our testimonials. All right, that's going to be this right here. Okay. All right. H1, what our clientele are saying. Now, I'm about to put in 3 different people. They're going to be the testimonial people right here. And I want to be able to take each one of them and format these in the same way. All right? So I put each one of them inside of an invisible, what I call the box. All right, so why did I tell you that? Because when you look in here, notice div class equal box. All right, and underneath that, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in my image. Source equals, and I've already copied these, images slash, all right, and these are testimonials, so I just called them test. So test 01.jpg. All right. Whenever you put in anything like this, you should have what's called alternative text. And this is used for a few reasons. One reason it's used for is if you have people who are going through your site and they're people who are vision deficient. Maybe they're totally blind, maybe they're legally blind, etc., and can't see the images, they will at least get some text explaining what the images are. So I'm just going to call this testimonial number 1. All right. And that particular picture has got a width that's equal to 200, and it's got a height that's equal to 200. Whoops. So what did that do? Let's take a quick look. Not that. There we go. So I now have, notice here, that's going to become this. Okay? Don't worry about it. That right now they don't look alike. They will shortly. All right, let me get rid of that. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my original, and I'm going to open up the index, and I'm just going to grab that text that is there. In fact, I'll grab the whole H2 tag. All right. So I'm still in this div right here, and I want to put in an H2 tag which has the person who's giving the testimonial. It has their name and then just some filler text. All right. This filler text, just so you know, it's oftentimes called lorem ipsum text. And if you go out to lipsum, lipsum.org, site doesn't look like anything, but I can just say I want, for example, 4 paragraphs, and it gives me those. So basically, lorem ipsum is just used as placeholder text. All right. So let's go back and let's do one more file, save all, and then let's go back and take a look at what we're working on. Let me get rid of that. All right. So now notice I've got some text for him. All right. And I'm actually going to put in 2 more of these. Now, rather than having you watch me type and type and type, I'm already at 15 minutes. What I'm going to do quickly is I'm going to grab this div. I'm going to copy it to the clipboard. And I'm going to paste it in. And then I'm going to hit enter a couple times and paste it in again. Now I want testimonial 2 for the second one. So there was my first one with Mark Garrison. Here will be my second one. And that was Carrie Johnson. I made up the names. And then finally, I'll have testimonial number 3. And that was from Mike Jones. All right. So let me do a file, save all. Let me go back and take a quick look. And you'll notice there's Mark Garrison, there's Carrie Johnson, there's Mike Jones. Okay. So what I've done is I've come in and I've started to set up the way I'm going to have at least most of my main or content section to look. All right. Now it's time to go back and do some CSS on this, and I'll do that in the next lesson.